You with these steps to grasp your confidence and own your power. I love that.
Look around the room. You'll see that you're not so alone after all, and that unconfidence could look like any of us.
Maybe your whole life you have been told that the best wins, but I'm telling you right now that the best known will win.
Hello, everyone. I am your host, Tara LaFon Gooch, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Grasp Confidence Podcast. This is a phenomenal show, and it's really taking off. So before we even get started, I just want to take a moment to thank all of our listeners, subscribers, and downloads. Oh my goodness, I checked it over the weekend, and our downloads are soaring, and we are quickly topping into the top global podcast land. So I'm very privileged and grateful. Now, I met my next guest in an interesting way. He bought the book, How to Grasp Confidence and Own Your Power. And we met organically on LinkedIn. We bought the book, loved it, and we became good friends. And I love interviewing fans of the book because they have a different perspective, especially concepts like gratitude, than most other people do, right? Because they read the story and they understand the method. So my next guest, my friend and biggest fan, Bill Wacker. Please introduce yourself.
Tara, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. It really is. And yes, I'm not your biggest fan, one of your biggest fans, and I appreciate that. So, yeah, I'm Bill Wacker. I live in beautiful Cleveland, Ohio. So, obviously, I have a sense of humor, and I am doing a transition to being a sales life coach. My biggest, passion is helping others and see them happy and not suffer in silence. So part of that journey has been meeting you and others over the past 18 months, and I'm very grateful to be here.
We're kind of forming this tribe on LinkedIn, right? It's kind of fun, and that's where most of the podcast guests come from, our LinkedIn, right? And it's cool, we're connecting, we're meeting each other, we're sharing stories, and we're talking about these powerful, life-changing concepts. And you're transitioning into a sales coaching role right now, and your goal is to help other people, and you're doing an amazing job at that. But I'm just curious, was it always this way? Were you always going down this path, or can you take us back a little bit?
Yeah, it's depending on how far you want to go back, but no, it has not always been this way. Been on a couple calls already this morning, and I was named shyest of my senior class in high school. So that's come up a couple times already today. But I've had quite the journey. I have been in sales marketing my whole career, but I also, I had a lot of success, but I also was suffering in silence, like I brought up earlier. I did lack confidence. I had a lot of anxiety throughout my whole life, a lot of depression issues, and which that led to alcohol. And I went through quite the time with alcoholism, and have been now sober just about 5 years. I'll be celebrating that in August. But I know that when you're in sales, it is a high stress, pressure job. Most jobs are, but sales in particular, you got to hit targets, and if you don't hit your targets, you're gone. And that is incredibly stressful. And that also leads to traveling, being away from family, the loneliness, and alcohol is always there. So I know a lot of people that have those issues that it impacts marriage as well. So mental health, fortunately for all of us, has become more, discussions about that have been more accepted over the past, few years. I can see the change, but there is still that stigma. And those are the people I'm trying to really reach. There's a variety of paths we can go in terms of sales coaching, but not too many people have lived what I've lived, and I know I can help those people. And I've been very, very grateful for all the support I've gotten in taking this approach, because it's pretty unique. I don't really think anybody's doing that. And as you know, Tara, my biggest MO is to help others and see them happy, and point them in the right direction and connect them to others that I think, can help them. And it's just talking to somebody else about this the other day. It's hell when you're suffering. It's hell, that feeling you have in your chest and not sure where to go with or what to do. You can talk to a counselor, but that costs, significant amount of money. It also shows up on your insurance. So like, why did you talk to this person if you're being questioned for life insurance? But, with the coach, you don't have to worry about that. And you can talk to somebody that, really has real life suggestions, has walked in those shoes, and that's hard to find.
Yeah, and I say this all the time. I wouldn't want to hire, let's say, a personal trainer that has always been fit, right? I feel like they couldn't relate to me. I feel like they wouldn't know my journey, what I'm going through, my mindset. But if you've been there and then have come out the other side, well, then that person is an expert on something, right? And I think we as a society don't really give a lot of credit where that type of thing is due. If you have the lived experience and you've come out and now you're taking that pain and torment that you had before and you're transmuting it to help others, well, that's what we need, right? We need people that have gone through that fire. And it's important, right? Because that lived experience, sometimes somebody just needs to be seen, heard, and validated.
Oh, yes. You just heard it. Absolutely. A lot of problems where you just occur when you feel like you're not being heard. That's my big one. Not being heard, not getting my message across, and then the frustration that comes with it. And then trying to ask yourself, okay, why are they not hearing me? Maybe they are hearing me, but for whatever reason, my perception is they're not. So couldn't agree more with that.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that what all human beings want at the end of the day, is to be seen, heard, and validated? And it's not uncommon, right? And, when I wrote my book, again, you just never know who's going to read your book. I had no idea you would read my book and we would connect, right? So you are my favorite. I said favorite fan earlier, but at least favorite fan in Cleveland, Ohio. I know that. Okay,
Yes.
So
Well,
we'll
that's a
narrow it
special-
down there, and I'll say you're my favorite fan. And
Well, being
yeah.
the top in Cleveland, Ohio is a special thing. So
There you go, right? But I didn't know this would resonate with you the way it did, because I didn't know you. And you read it and it really resonated with you. And one of the reasons is because, well, I said at the beginning of my story, that lowest point. And I feel like you felt that.
Oh, yeah, I cried. It hit me right between the eyes, and it brought a lot of those emotions and feelings back, which is also part of the journey, because I wanted to. You want to remember those feelings to help others. And I just did this with my daughter the other day. It's like, she's like, and you talked to my daughter, so I have this feeling in my chest that just won't go away. And I was like, I know that feeling. So what do we do about that feeling? And it's just really trying to talk that through and get it out there, and maybe look at things from a different lens. That's the one thing I've really tried to do, is be grateful for everything, but also be grateful for the setbacks and the trials and such, and treat those as learning experience. And all right, I'm glad I went through that, because now that I don't have to go through that again, and then maybe I can extend that message to others. Like, for example, with drinking and being social, and I was at a Luke Bryan concert this weekend, my first country music concert ever. And I joke with my girlfriend that every country music song is about drinking. It is really pretty funny. And that, of course, crowd was drinking pretty heavily, but it doesn't bother me anymore, because I know that it's all right here. Your brain, you just have to retrain your brain, and it's easier than you think, which I've learned. It really is, and it doesn't take long. But your brain is your best friend, and it also can be, your worst enemy. I've learned your brain can be a bad neighborhood. So
Yep.
it really can. It's all made up. It's all mental, and you're not your thoughts. And I've learned, with talking with people like you and others that we've been introduced to and spoke with, that you can change it's not easy, but a relatively short amount of time with some commitment. And I want to be the catalyst for those people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do want to talk about that though, because, our success is dictated by our mindset, right? And it's these habitual thoughts that we have, sometimes these ruminating thoughts that, hold us back, right? But one of the things that you mentioned too that I want to bring up, because I think this was brought up in the book Atomic Habits, is that for somebody that is trying to quit drinking, let's say, to not say, I don't drink anymore, but to say, I'm not a drinker. Even the language that we can say to ourselves and to other people when they ask us a certain question is huge, 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 huge. What do you think about that, Bill? Have you
Totally.
ever thought about that?
That's a big part of my new life, is the manifestation, and I am, and I choose not to drink. Um, and I was always worried about that stigma. What are people going to say? But not any longer. I choose not to drink because I'm a much happier person without it. Less complications. It's a much simpler life. And it's just, the hardest part of changing is what's life going to be like for me? What's it going to be like without alcohol, or what's it going to be like with not being in an unhealthy relationship? It's the fear of the unknown, and it's talking that through, and in teaching people that this could be the greatest thing that's ever happened to you. It's just like you said, it's all up in your mind.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's all how you want to approach things. It's all how you want to look at things. There's a friend of mine that says, I'm very convinced, and I'm paraphrasing for him, that every bad situation has definitely a silver lining behind it. You can make every bad situation into something good. And that's something I've been trying to teach my kids and my clients is, what can we make positive out of this? Because you can. And like you and others have helped teach me that, and the word that you've spread, and having more confidence. It really comes down to look at how you look at things. Being grateful, Tara, is a great thing to be.
It's so powerful. It's so simple, but or just earlier this morning, I had a conversation with a client, and she does gratitude-based healing, right? And she had a profound life-changing experience happen to her, tragedy. And she thinks about her gratitude that she had in her life before this tragedy, and she called it very surface level. But the gratitude after tragedy was very deep, and it was profound. And it's interesting because we sometimes think in life that if we have something huge, something catastrophic, something, immensely changing, that it's going to be horrible. We'll never recover from it. Right. And it's not to say that we don't have some emotional residue from these events. But it is to say that we can find the gratitude and choose gratitude in any given situation. And oftentimes, through these, especially big life changing adversities, comes a deeper appreciation of gratitude. And it can change our relationship with it. What do you think about that, Bill?
Yeah, I mean, life-changing experiences, that's why we're talking. I don't think you and I would have chatted if I didn't have one of those type of experiences, and that was losing, a good job. Actually losing another good job. There's like 2 in a row. And was it because I was a bad salesperson? No. It's that climate. And I decided at that point to use this as an opportunity to kind of reinvent myself, do things that I'd been wanting to do that I really haven't done. And that was really expanding my network and have it include really good people that, have a similar mission, a kind heart, and want to help others, want to help the environment, are just flat out good people. And that's the people that I've been, gravitating towards. And it opened my eyes to a lot of different experiences. And I never would have thought I would have been becoming a coach or doing development work for entrepreneurs at this stage of my life, and getting a chance to meet people like Alan Tratner, who's the inventor of Earth Day. I never would have met these people, and I talk to him all the time, and it just blows my mind. It's just because I was offering to help. That's a friend of mine, another Justin Michael. That's this thing. It's like, I want to serve. I live to serve, and I've really tried to approach that, especially with the last 18 months and giving to others. And yeah, I'm grateful for losing that job, because I never would have been in the position and I am now. I would not be friends with you, most likely. So it's all how you react to situations.
Exactly. Well, that's just fantastic. It's all about turning that pain into purpose. And like I said, transmuting it. And we can, see that that's not only possible, but we see multiple examples of this with people that have gone through some type of adversity, right? And it is powerful. And of course, nobody signs up for this, Nobody signs up and says, "Give me some more of that," right? I want hardship, I want adversity, I want stumbling blocks, but you know what? If we can have the emotional intelligence while we're navigating adversity to understand where the points are that can actually lead us to growth, you know what? That's all possible through a lens of gratitude. The gratitude through the adversity is what leads you to avenues of growth in any situation. There's a lot of wisdom in that. It's easier said than done. I'm not saying that it's something that can be accomplished immediately, but it is something that can be accomplished. And it's important to know, right?
And it's important to go through it a couple different times as well, because once you do go through something like that, then it gives you the confidence, as you say, grasp confidence, that when these things come up again, it's okay. I got it. I can handle this. It's not catastrophic. Let's look at it this particular way. And it's helped me be a better parent, because I can teach my kids that when they're going through problems, and God knows they do, as you know, I can try to approach it from like a sage perspective and give them the wisdom that it's going to be okay. This is what happened to me in the past, but not be too preachy. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Absolutely.
It's an art on that.
It is. Well, it comes with age, and the beautiful thing about it is all of this that we're talking about increases your leadership. So your self-leadership, and as well as leadership with other people. And that could be at work. That could be with our families, right? It's all about how we're showing up. And again, it all starts with self-leadership. So very important principles. I love it. Bill, thank you so much for being a guest on the show today and for coming and for connecting with me and reading the book and supporting the book the way that you do.
Yeah, let's just say something about that. It's a really a life-changing book. If anyone hasn't read it, please pick up a copy. Tara's not paying me to say this, by the way. I've had it's given me so much. One of the things I'll say about the book, and I say this to myself all the time, especially when dealing with some people, is be kind. Be kind anyway. That's one of the lines that said in your book is like, if there's still being a jackass, I'll paraphrase here, be kind anyway. So I always have that in my back of my mind. And thank you so much for the opportunity. Josie Madison, thanks for the comments. I appreciate it. And it's been a pleasure, Tara. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Bill. And thank you for everyone who tuned into the show today. We will catch you on the next episode.